There's a Stanford researcher, her name is Carol Dweck, and she does a great TED Talk. Check it out. But she, and on this talk, what she describes is two basic types of mindsets. One type of mindset she calls a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is very unique, and it's very congenial to what we're trying to do here. We're trying to develop a growth mindset. A growth mindset doesn't see, a person with a growth mindset doesn't see him or herself as being finished. That person's in process. And if he or she does not achieve what he or she wants to achieve, get the grade on the test that they wanted to get, the person with the growth mindset doesn't crumble and cave in as a result. The person with the growth mindset understands, okay, I'm in process, not yet. I could study more, back to the grindstone. And what's super important about the person with a growth mindset is that person doesn't shame or blame or guilt themselves for what just happened, okay? It's super important to be kind on our way to getting better. Now, the opposite is a person with a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset sees a failure as a failure, not like a stepping stone to something more. It's like an end. I failed. A person with a fixed mindset also sees him or herself very solidly, absolutely. We're trying to get past that. We're trying to see that we're in process too. And we've learned a lot. So let me just recap a lot of the techniques that you've learned in this class. So change, step by step. Important to prime yourself ahead of time. It's important to do that prospective memory practice at night where you rehearse in your mind you recall something that you didn't do well, and you rehearse how you could do it better the next time. That primes you to actually do it more skillfully the next time. The other thing you can do with priming, remember the themes of those essential characteristics of life that are going to bring more health and happiness, the beauty, truth, and goodness. Learning to prime yourself to see more beauty, truth, and goodness. Like on the break, so many of you went outside and you commented how beautiful the sky was. You're bringing, that's your life, and you noticing the beauty that's surrounding you, that's changing your biochemistry. But we have to remind ourselves, so prime ahead of time. Set a conscious intention right now that for the rest of the day, you're going to see and name what's great, okay? All right, remembering to be mindful. This is another thing you can prime yourself on. You can wear your watch on the opposite wrist. You can wear a mala. You can have conversations with your partners or friends about mindfulness that'll help bring it more into your life. Whatever you need to do to remember to be mindful, bring that. And also, notice that when lousy things show up, that the mindfulness is going to help you deconstruct and get out of the suffering. Bring some clarity to the experience. Okay, so notice the asterisk after relabel. You're going to see a few bullets with asterisks. There's a researcher at UCLA, his name is Jeffrey Schwartz, and he came up with a recovery model, and I liked 4 of his steps. And there's a fifth one that was added by another author that I really like. His name is Gabor Mate. He wrote this book, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts. I want to share some of their bullets, okay, and help you see that a lot of the programming that you learn is in alignment with what's coming out of these major learning institutions. Okay, so relabel, let me get back to that. Relabel, that's when the Shenpa hits, remember to give it a word. Super helpful. You can say sight, sound, talk, image, touch, feel. You can use those labels, but you can also say to yourself, this is me feeling fear. This is me feeling angry. It's kind of like naming it to tame it. Get in the habit of talking to yourself out loud. Most of the time we're by ourselves in our own little mental words. Talk to yourself. Super helpful. Relabel. And a lot of times when the Shenpa hits, it's going to show up and it's going to seem like a very compelling need, like I need to do this. Tell yourself, it's not a need. You could just sit with thoughts and sensations. You really could. You could learn how to do that, and then the emotion, the energy is just going to lower itself down as long as you stay out of the suffering. All right, so reattribute. Being stuck in an urge because you got triggered by something. Being stuck in depression or anxiety or in a very strong feeling state. A lot of times we're stuck in that feeling state because it's the bottom-up stuff. It's already imprinted in here. The nervous system knows how to do it, and it's just making it. So don't give your name to that. Don't give your identity to the pattern. You can just say, hey, this isn't me. You know, this is just a brain circuit firing right now. This is just brain chemistry. And allowing yourself to give the blame to something else, not you, super easy. And I'm not saying don't take responsibility for stirring yourself up. If you stayed stuck in cycles of suffering and you stir yourself up, you have to own that part of it. But unbidden, if an emotion just strikes you, who hasn't woken up on the wrong side of the bed, right? You wake up and things feel lousy, and if you can't connect like you've done something to create this state, don't blame yourself for it. You know, it's a brain circuit, fair enough. And push into it a little bit. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you feel really heavy, like stand up and like, so what does heavy feel like? Just start moving, and the next thing you know, heaviness is going to disappear too. Okay, so refocus. You're learning how important that this is. What you give your attention to, you're going to get energy from. The good and the bad. It's going to be either those objects of craving or aversion, or it's going to be more objects of beauty, truth, and goodness, depending. And the deconstructive practices, also very important when using your attention. You can take your attention and focus in on one narrow aspect of your experience, and like a feel sensation that just hits you, don't go global with it. Zoom in, pick a little part of it, and just work with that. That'll also help get you through difficulties. Revalue. This is super important. Think about the construct, the mental model, the story of me, what we were talking about today. We all have models about our relationship to people, places, and things. If you can begin to evaluate or become more aware of your relationship, how much you value that thing, the value can shift. For example, I've worked with a whole bunch of people who have wanted to quit smoking but found it very difficult to quit smoking. But they wanted to quit, and so what they were struggling with is they were struggling with ambivalence. Part of them wants to do this thing, and part of them does not want to do this thing. But mostly when we're in a fixated state and we're acting out, let's say doing the smoking, most of the time we're not paying attention at all to what we don't like about smoking. Our mind goes numb and we just do the smoking out of habit. Invite yourself in any situation that you want to break the habit of, explore the ambivalence that's probably there, and bring more attention and awareness to the aspects that you don't like. And then in your mind-body network, the value of that activity, person, place, or thing is going to shift as a natural course of you evaluating your ambivalence. And so you don't have to try so hard to quit smoking, if that's the thing. You can just allow it to let itself go after a while. Okay. And this is the one Gabor Mate came up with in his book, Recreate. Constructive meditation on the positive side. Use your imagination. Get with people, engage in relationships in groups where you guys are talking about and excited about positive change. Use your creativity, your imagination, and your connection with other human beings to find a way in the world that feels good to you. That's where healing is going to really come from. So the mindfulness is great, but you can't leave off the meaning. You have to add new meaning. Our mind-body networks are story machines. And even if you become enlightened, you're still going to have a story. The only difference is that you know it's your story and you're totally involved in authoring it. Like right now, sometimes it just feels like the story is authoring itself. That's no way to be. So let's empower ourselves to be more creative, consciously creative. Explore, investigate that information. All right, and last again, review. End of the day. Don't leave this off, folks. When you guys go to bed, review your day. Recall, what worked, what didn't work. If there was stuff that you didn't do so well, little sense of regret, don't beat yourself up, but just feel that there's a little gap between where you are now, not yet, and where you want to be. Then resolve. I'm going to do this. Use your imagination at that stage, at the resolve stage, to really see clearly doing it better next time. You can rely on your innate capacity to evolve and change. That's never going to change. And then rejoice, be grateful. You're in process. Okay, so we're doing all of this stuff. Okay?